Are you constantly worried about your income, job stability, or how you'll make ends meet? What if I told you there's a simple, consistent practice rooted in the Quran that can change your relationship with money, ease your worries, and bring barakah into every part of your life? Surah Ikhlas, a short surah with just 4 verses, holds incredible spiritual power. But most of us recite it without realizing its hidden potential, especially when it comes to rizq, sustenance. When recited with the right understanding, intention, and routine, this surah can become a magnet for divine provision. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to recite Surah Ikhlas in a way that aligns your heart with the source of all rizq. We're not talking about superstition. We're talking about faith in action. So stay with me and discover a habit that could transform your financial and spiritual life. 1. Virtue of Surah Ikhlas. Surah Ikhlas, though short in length, holds immense weight in the eyes of Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is a declaration of the purest form of monotheism, encapsulating the essence of Islamic belief in just 4 concise verses. The surah affirms that Allah is one, eternal, self-sufficient, and beyond comparison or need, a message so foundational that it underpins the entire structure of Islamic faith. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam emphasized its importance on many occasions. One of the most remarkable hadiths mentions that reciting Surah Ikhlas is equivalent to reciting 1/3 of the Quran. This comparison is not just numerical, but spiritual. The Quran broadly covers 3 themes: Tawheed, oneness of Allah, prophethood, and laws. Surah Ikhlas solely focuses on Tawheed, giving it such profound depth that it represents an entire dimension of the Quranic message. Moreover, the surah was beloved to the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, himself. There are narrations of a companion who would repeatedly recite Surah Ikhlas in every unit of prayer. When asked why, he said it describes the most merciful, and he loved reciting it. Upon hearing this, the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, affirmed that Allah loves those who love this surah. This indicates that sincere love for the surah, coupled with its regular recitation, is a sign of spiritual closeness to Allah. The simplicity of the language makes it accessible to every Muslim, regardless of age or background. Yet its meanings are deep, inviting reflection every time it's recited. Surah Ikhlas isn't just for memorization or routine use. It's a spiritual key. Understanding and believing in what it conveys is a pathway to earning Allah's love. And with that love comes divine support, including provision, peace, and protection. 2. Connection between Surah Ikhlas and rizq. The connection between Surah Ikhlas and rizq, sustenance, lies not just in the act of recitation, but in the depth of what the surah represents. Rizq is ultimately from Allah alone. He is Al-Razzaq, the sole provider. When a believer recites Surah Ikhlas with sincerity and understanding, they are affirming the very attribute of Allah's oneness and independence, recognizing that no one else has control over provision. This recognition aligns the heart directly with the source of all sustenance. Rizq is not only about money or food. It includes peace of mind, good health, loving relationships, and opportunities. When one declares that Allah is one, eternal, and free of need, they are placing all trust in Him alone. This unwavering trust is a form of tawakkul, and Allah promises in the Quran, "And whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him." Quran 65:3. There are numerous stories in Islamic tradition and personal experiences of believers where consistent, heartfelt recitation of Surah Ikhlas opened unexpected doors of rizq. This isn't about magical thinking, it's about spiritual alignment. When the heart acknowledges that Allah is unique, needing nothing and giving everything, a shift occurs in one's mindset. Worry is replaced with trust, and that trust draws blessings. Also, Allah loves those who remember Him sincerely. And when Allah loves someone, He takes care of their needs in ways they cannot imagine. Surah Al-Ikhlas is one of the most sincere ways to praise and remember Him. Reciting it regularly becomes a means of drawing closer to Him. And as that relationship strengthens, so too does the flow of barakah and provision in one's life. 3. When and how to recite Surah Al-Ikhlas. To benefit fully from the blessings associated with Surah Al-Ikhlas, it is essential to incorporate it intentionally into your daily routine. While the surah can be recited at any time, there are specific moments throughout the day and night when its recitation becomes especially powerful and spiritually rewarding. One of the most effective times to recite Surah Al-Ikhlas is after every obligatory salah, prayer. Many scholars recommend reciting it 3 times after each prayer as part of a regular dhikr routine. Doing so ensures that your remembrance of Allah is grounded in the recognition of His unique oneness, which purifies the heart and draws divine attention to your needs, including rizq. Another ideal time is before going to sleep. The Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, would recite Surah Al-Ikhlas along with Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas, and then blow over his hands and wipe them over his body. This practice offers both spiritual protection and tranquility, allowing you to sleep with a clean heart and renewed faith. In addition, reciting it during the early morning hours, especially during tahajjud or after Fajr prayer, can be deeply impactful. These are sacred hours when du'as are more readily accepted and the heart is more connected to Allah. Reciting Surah Al-Ikhlas during this time, with awareness of its meaning, adds weight to your prayers for sustenance and guidance. The key is not just to recite it, but to do so with presence and humility. Allow the meaning to settle in your heart. Visualize Allah's attributes as described in the verses, and let that understanding elevate your intention. When recited with sincerity and consistency, this short surah becomes a daily declaration of faith that can transform your connection with the provider of all rizq. 4. Dua and intention. Reciting Surah Al-Ikhlas carries tremendous reward, but to truly unlock its impact on your rizq, your intention, niyyah, and dua, supplication, play a central role. Intention is the starting point of every act of worship in Islam. When you recite Surah Al-Ikhlas with a clear, heartfelt intention that you are doing so to draw closer to Allah and seek His provision, the spiritual effect multiplies. It transforms your recitation from a routine into an act of conscious devotion, aligned with your needs and goals. After reciting Surah Al-Ikhlas, especially at the times mentioned earlier, make a personal dua for rizq. Don't just ask for money or material wealth. Ask Allah for halal, pure and barakah-filled sustenance, for opportunities that bring benefit in both this world and the next. The Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, often made dua for beneficial provision and taught us to seek ease, contentment, and sufficiency alongside our material needs. Your dua should be made with yaqeen, certainty that Allah hears and responds. The Quran says, "Call upon me, I will respond to you." 40:60. This promise becomes even more powerful when preceded by sincere remembrance, like Surah Al-Ikhlas. Think of your recitation as preparing your heart and your dua as presenting your request with full humility and hope. It is also important to be specific in your dua. Instead of vague pleas, ask Allah for the exact kind of rizq you need: a job, clarity in business, relief from debt, or peace in your financial life. End your dua with gratitude, recognizing that even the ability to ask is a gift from Him. When intention and dua accompany your recitation, Surah Ikhlas becomes a bridge between your need and Allah's mercy, the key that opens the doors of provision. 5. Consistency. Consistency is the secret ingredient that transforms spiritual practices into lifelong blessings. When it comes to reciting Surah Ikhlas for rizq, one-time or occasional efforts will not produce the same impact as a committed, regular routine. Islam teaches us that Allah loves deeds that are small but consistent, even more than grand actions done only once. This principle applies beautifully to the daily recitation of Surah Ikhlas. Building consistency isn't about perfection. It's about showing up every day with sincerity. Choose moments in your daily schedule where you can commit to reciting the surah regularly, whether it's after each salah, before sleeping, or during quiet moments in the morning. Make it part of your lifestyle. Over time, this practice not only becomes easier, but it also begins to shape your mindset, increasing your trust in Allah and reducing anxiety about provision. The benefit of consistent recitation is that it keeps your heart continuously connected to the source of rizq. Even if you don't immediately see material changes, know that the spiritual effects are accumulating. Sometimes the doors of sustenance open in ways that are subtle, through avoided hardships, improved decision-making, or hidden blessings you didn't even realize you needed. This is the nature of Barakah. It's not always loud, but it's always present. Moreover, consistency builds spiritual discipline, which strengthens your faith overall. As your relationship with Allah deepens, your reliance on external circumstances decreases. You begin to witness firsthand how divine support flows into your life, not just in terms of wealth, but in peace, opportunities, and contentment. In the journey of seeking rizq through Surah Ikhlas, consistency isn't just recommended, it's essential. Just like water shapes stone through steady drops, your regular devotion shapes a life of lasting barakah and divine support. Surah Ikhlas is more than just a recitation. It's a gateway to strengthening your faith and unlocking divine provision. Make it part of your daily life and watch how Allah opens doors you never imagined. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Intellect Deen for more powerful reminders. May Allah bless you with halal, abundant, and barakah-filled rizq. Ameen. Comment below. Ya Razak, open the doors of rizq for me and my family. Let's make it a collective dua. Jazakum Allahu khairan.